Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a special comparison video for the upcoming characters with Kazuha, Ayaka, and also Yoimiya. In this video, we'll look into a detailed comparison between Kazuha, Ayaka, and also Yoimiya. Over 20 plus different comparisons as you can see over here. I have highlighted their specialties and also why those characters are very good for what they do. This includes their basic stats and also their values. And also what are the practical use, including the artifacts, their constellations, their skill cooldowns, and also their fighting style, the usage in the Sprial boost, and also artifact choices. We'll also look into the event versatility and also how good those characters are in the special roles, including dealing the most damage and also being the best support. We'll also be looking into the concerns of the power spikes and also the characters are they likely going to be replaced in the future, and the personal appeals for those characters, and also why are those characters very good for their particular roles. We'll be looking to the timings of those banners for each of the characters, and also the strength and also weakness for those characters in more details, including the attack multipliers, what are the numbers at level 10, and what should we be aware of. And also Sharu is coming in a special banner, and also Bennett and also Rosaria. Now with the latest information on the Kazuha banner that will be coming in less 24 hours, I really want to make a video for us to compare those upcoming 3 characters, Kazuha, Ayaka, or Yoimiya. And in this video, we'll go through some of the notes what makes any 5-star character very valuable. This includes their basic stats, how much primal gems we can earn from the Sprial boost, and how strong are they in fighting monsters and also having different events. Because we know there will be a lot of new characters coming within Inazuma, and I've seen over 10 new characters. So we really want to know where is the best usage of our primal gems. And this is why I have made this particular Excel comparison to allow us to see most of the factors for those 3 characters. So we start with the basic stats, then we go into the practical use. And we'll finish off with a comparison of the strength and also weakness of each of those characters. And also when it's okay to skip those characters. I thought this is quite interesting because this is something I've always been thinking. I'm always really loving each of the characters, but then I'm thinking, hey, maybe I should consider maybe it's okay to skip those banners. And in terms of a free-to-play of low spending perspective, maybe under those conditions, it's okay to wait for the rerun of those characters. So coming over to the stat comparison of Kazuha, Ayaka, and also Yoimiya. We can see right away, Kazuha have a very high base HP with over 13,000 and also a very high base defense. Kazuha is going to be a melee character, and usually melee characters do have some really good stats. And you can see Kazuha is going to excel in base HP and also base defense. On the other hand, we can see Ayaka with over 300 and also 42 attack. This is by far one of the highest attack characters in the game. Ayaka has received multiple buffs to her attack. And right now, Ayaka is on par with Eula and also Shao, some of the highest stats characters in the game. We can also see the bonus stats for Ayaka and also Yoimiya are very good, because they are both targeted for dealing the highest damage, with critical rate and also critical damage. As for supporting character, Kazuha also have a really good elemental mastery, which actually really works well with his passives and also constellations. So in terms of the stats, all 3 characters looks really good. Yoimiya is slightly lower in terms of attack, and also what we want to be aware is, Yumiya's other stats are quite low. So Yumiya's stats is as low as Klee stats in terms of defensive capacities. What that means is, Yoimiya as a DPS character will really want a shielding support that protects her, because unlike those other melee characters, Yoimiya is actually much more fragile compared to them. Now coming over to the comparison of the combat capacity of those 3 characters. Keep in mind guys, those are more of my personal preference and also my personal rating, so you might have those characters a little different, depending on the characters you have and also depending on the stats you value. So in terms of the role for the characters, I do believe Ayaka is going to be the #1 cryo DPS character in the game. She is going to be the first 5-star cryo character that's going to deal most of the cryo damage. Eula will also deal some of the cryo damage, but she's more of a physical character. And as for Ayaka, she does have a potential to be a DPS supporting character. This is also very similar to Yoimiya. She's going to be an amazing Pyro DPS character, which we do have a lot of Pyro DPS as we're going to see over here. Yoimiya is also a fantastic support with her burst spell, so that in the sense, Yoimiya is actually a very good support and even better than Ayaka as a support. And after that, we have one of the best support in the game with Kazuha joining us. Kazuha has multiple abilities and also multiple factors. Kazuha can be a support, he can be a crowd controller with his burst ultimate, and also he can lift enemies into the air, and also he can maneuver across different terrains. Kazuha can also be a DPS character. So Kazuha do have multiple factors, and as we go further, we're going to see his potential to become a DPS character like Shao if we get him to high constellations. Now in terms of ranking for those characters, Because we know Ayaka will be the best cryo DPS character as a 5-star character, she's ranked quite highly by me, about 9.9 out of 10. As for Yoimiya, I'm ranking her about 9.2 because we know there's too many DPS cryo characters. There's Klee, there's Diluc, there's Hu Tao, and with Yoimiya we have so many cryo DPS which are 5-star. So some of us might have too many cryo DPS already. So because there's too many of those characters, I'm ranking her a little lowly in terms of the roles within her element. As for Kazuha, I'm ranking him about 9.5. So this is quite high from 1 to 10, and also Kazuha is only contested with Venti. Kazuha will be a little stronger than Sakros, of course, because Sakros is going to be a 4-star character. In terms of the true competitors for Kazuha as an anemo support, you'll be Venti, Sakros, maybe Sharu, but Kazuha will definitely excel, because he has some very powerful moves, especially with his passive that give us more elemental damage with high elemental mastery. In terms of the resonance, the cryo characters, the pyro characters, all the anemo characters do have some really good resonance, with 15% critical rate, the 25% attack, and also the utility passive with the movement and also stamina reduction, and also cooldowns. Now because the characters do have different roles, the cooldowns will also be a little different. So over here we can see the elemental spell cooldown and also the elemental burst spell cooldown. Ayaka do have a 10-second and also a 20-second cooldown, compared to Yoimiya who actually have a lower cooldown with 18 seconds and also 15 seconds. And finally, Kazuha do have the lowest cooldown, with the ability to press and also hold his elemental burst spell, with 6 seconds and also 9 seconds for his elemental spell, and also 15 seconds for his burst ultimate. Now because Kazuha is going to be a supporting character, the lower cooldown he has, the more energy he can generate. So in terms of those comparisons, all 3 characters are very top in terms of the 5 stars. They are really some of the good characters that will be coming into the balance. Now one thing I do want to highlight compared to the other characters with Ayaka is that she is one of the only 2 characters that have a special sprint. You know there's a special sprint with Mona and also her water sprint, but Ayaka also allows us to sprint on water by turning the land into cryo. She also gains 18% bonus cryo damage after coming out of her sprint, so this is also battle capacity. So those other characters don't have the special sprint. I mean Kazuha can take us into the air, Yoimiya might have special fireworks, but Ayaka with her special sprint is going to be very interesting and also very amazing. I have heard from the beta testers that the combat capacity of the special sprint and also the utility of the sprint is actually very good. So in terms of Ayaka, in terms of something that's really special, she does have the special sprint, and that is a big highlight of her ever since she came out with beta. Now when comparing the utility passive of those characters, we can see that Ayaka actually have the best utility passive after her rework. She have a 10% chance of doubling the essential materials of the weapon materials that is crafted. Compared to Yoimiya, who actually refound a part of the furnishing crafting, it's a little more situational. It will save us a bit of time, going for the materials, but I do think Ayaka is the one that gives us the most reason for value. Kazuha do have the weakest utility passive, which does not stack. There's a lot of other characters also give us reduction to stamina, like Kaya, like Razor, which also have the same passive. So Ayaka does have one of the best passive compared to the other 3 characters in terms of utility. Now if we look at the constellations of those 3 characters, we can tell that Ayaka and also Yoimiya are going to be very powerful DPS characters, especially at Constellation 6. She can be a whale Ayaka and also a flame machine gun with a Yoimiya. So those characters are intentionally designed as a DPS character to become very powerful. And Kazuha can also be a godly DPS if he becomes Constellation 6. So in that sense, all 3 characters have a huge whaling potential. When we say whaling, it means you can spend a lot of money into the game and the character becomes super duper strong. So for Ayaka, her Constellation 1 is not bad. I've heard her Constellation 2 is not the best, but her Constellation 6 is amazing with 50% more damage. As for Yoimiya, Constellation 1, Constellation 2, Constellation 6 are all very good. And with Constellation 6 being recently buffed multiple times, it's more triggers with 50% more triggers and more multiple shots with more damage. And as we know with Kazuha, he literally becomes Shell once he becomes Constellation 6, because by casting his elemental spell and also burst spells, he will be able to infuse his damage with anemo damage, and he deals a lot of damage this way, because he gets a massive bonus from his elemental passives. Now all 3 of those characters are very good with the higher constellations, which is, it is a given. But remember guys, there's a lot of new characters that will be coming as well. Electro Archon with Saramonch and also, other characters that looks very amazing, Sarah, Kumi, a lot of new characters will be coming. So it is a trade-off. For each of the constellation we get, we might be missing a chance of getting a new character. But if you do have more Primal Gems, it's a hard one to say, because I know a lot of us have been saving lots of Primal Gems. I'll be making some new character highlights with the upcoming characters to give you guys a better comparison of what you are getting with constellations and also what you're getting with new characters with the same primal gems. Now, one of the biggest factors we want to look at the comeback potential of the characters is going to be how much they can get primal gems for us in terms of the new Sprial builds. We know the Sprial builds can give us 600 primal gems every 2 weeks if we clear most of the 3 stars. Most of us can get about 500 or even 550 primal gems if we can't get all the 3 stars. In terms of the cryo characters, Ayaka and also Ganyu are very powerful against any of their builds. Because they are great for electro characters, they also have cryo damage which can break down a lot of shield. This is also the case with Yoimiya, who have the range elemental attack, which can be very good against the Abyss Lectors and also the Abyss Herald, which can be helping to break the elemental shield, and they tend to be one of the tougher monsters in terms of the Sprial builds. Now, if you guys have seen the buffs for the latest Sprial builds that will be coming, there is a lot of the Anemo and also Sword effect buffs. And also with latest patch 1.6 buff to the Sword effect and also the other elemental combinations, the Anemo characters are actually on the rise, so Kazuha is also very powerful for the Sprial builds. All 3 characters are actually going to do very well for at least next 1 to 2 months in the Sprial builds. And even if in the future, all of those characters can be the main characters on the team, in terms of the supporting character, in terms of the DPS support, or the main DPS character. So all 3 of them can earn us a lot of primal gems if we invest correctly into them. Now, on the topic of investment, we'll be looking for different artifact sets. As for Ayaka, it is likely there may be a new patch 1.7 cryo set, and even if the new cryo set doesn't come out, there will still be the current Blizzard set which give her more cryo damage and also critical chance, because she does get higher critical damage, so she wants higher critical chance. We also know there is a new DPS artifact set that gives higher normal attack damage, and that is the set that Yoimiya may be using. Ayaka can also use this set, but ideally Ayaka also deals a lot of damage with the burst ultimate. As for Yoimiya, she also has multiple choices for artifacts. There's a Crimson Witch, there's the Lava Worker, there's also the new artifact that gives her over 50% more normal attack with her maximum energy. So those characters are looking great. Similarly, Kazuha also has some of the best set for him at the moment with the Veda Descent Vermeer. So this set increases amiibo damage and also increases Sword effect, which he excels with Elemental Mastery. So all of those characters are doing really well with artifact sets. And there is also a potential of new artifact set with Kazuha, but currently it is not confirmed. So once we have the new Anemo artifact set, Anemo DPS like Shao and maybe Kazuha can become even more powerful. But even with the current set, Kazuha is going to be very powerful. I'm quite excited to try my new artifacts once we get our hands on Kazuha with the live stream tomorrow. Now, similar to the Sprial builds, we know all 3 of the characters will be very powerful in fighting monsters, whether it's in the real world or maybe it's in the different dungeons and also different domains. One thing to highlight is that Yoimiya is said to be one of the strongest single target DPS in the game, and she is going to be amazing. So also Kazuha was said to be one of the amazing Anemo support. Now, as for the upcoming event flexibilities, we know that Ayaka is going to be especially good because she have a very special sprint. Some of those events, like the hide and seek and also the tag wars, if you move very fast, then no one can catch you. In other special events, by moving fast and also traveling fast, Ayaka can be very good. Yoimiya doesn't have anything special in terms of utility, but Kazuha also have the ability to take us into the air, very similar to Venti. So in terms of the event flexibility and also fun events coming in the future, I think Ayaka and also Kazuha might excel in terms of any of the events. Now, if you haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so. Make sure you also turn the bell on for the latest news as I find more of them for us. You can see that we're really dedicated for Genshin Impact. We'll have builds, guides, tips, news, and events updates for everything that's Genshin Impact related. Now, for most of the free-to-play and also low-spending player, one of the biggest concern is, what if I invest my hard-saved primal gems for 1 to 2 months or even longer in terms of a character, then all of a sudden there's a better character that comes in the future, and that character might have similar roles, similar style of damage, and then my character gets replaced. So one thing we want to look at is going to be the power creep concern and also the chance of replacement. So it is a very low chance for characters like Ayaka to be replaced in the distant future, at least for 6 months or even longer. Because we just had Yuna as one of the cryo 5 stars, and we're getting Ayaka, and she is a highly anticipated character. After everyone getting, after most people have gotten Ayaka or tried for Ayaka, it is very likely the developers won't be marketing another Cryo character for a long time. So we'll be waiting for a long time before we get another Cryo DPS, and the chance of Ayaka being replaced is very low, because currently there isn't any 5-star Cryo DPS in the game. Yuta will be doing most of the physical damage, as she'll be excelling with the physical artifacts. Now, unlike Ayaka, the same thing cannot be said for Yoimiya, because the replacement chances for Yoimiya is actually quite high. Currently in the game, there's a lot of Pyro DPS characters. We know, guys, there's a lot of 4-star Pyro DPS too, but even for the 5 stars, there's Klee with her current rerun, just recently with patch 1.6. There's the Luke, and there's also Huta, who is actually very powerful. So Yoimiya is actually very contested in terms of the DPS role as a Pyro character, and the chance of getting more Pyro characters is always there in the future, because we know there will be a Pyro Archon that will be coming to the game. And unless the Pyro Archon, she is a supporting character, then she might be a DPS Archon, so there will be more Pyro characters in the game. And the concern is there is a medium chance of Yoimiya being replaced in the future. So maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months down the line, there might be more Pyro characters. And as we know, each of the characters will get stronger. But don't be too concerned, guys. If you're planning to go with Yoimiya, we'll go through the personal appeals and also the best value for Primal Gems, and also the strength of Yoimiya, which is still very high. So there's definitely a reason for us to be wishing for Yoimiya, and she looks very nice, and this is why I want to give you guys both sides of the view. What are the times it's okay to skip her, what are the times you really want her, and what are the reasons you want to go with her, with some very good attack multipliers. Now, Kazuha is going to be one of the special Anemo supporting character, and the chance of him being replaced is very low, because of his unique elemental mastery supporting capacities to give us more damage, and also his unique fighting style. He is very similar to Venti, and we just had the latest Venti rerun. So the only character that compete with Kazuha is going to be Venti. And because we need 2 teams of 4 characters for the Sprial abuse, we can have Venti on one team and also Kazuha on the other team. So the chance of Kazuha being replaced in the distant future is also very low. Now coming over to the personal appeals and also for the best value for our Primal Gems. We know Ayaka is going to be the best waifu for a long time. People have been waiting for her since beta. And we remember the first time she got nerfed, that her pantsuit is gone. It's like, no, they took away her pants. No, I'm joking about that. So we have seen multiple changes to Ayaka. Massive reworks, things of her character design, her skills and everything. We're very happy about her, very excited for her. So Ayaka is usually the best waifu. And also Yoimiya is very cute and also bright. So there's a lot of new, female characters that will be coming to the game, and they are very nicely designed. We can also see that Kazuha is actually portrayed into a kind and also caring samurai, which is actually very nice. So every one of us will have a different personal appeal for those characters. But in terms of the marketing perspective, miHoYo definitely know how to design some really interesting and also lovable characters. Now if we consider the value for our Primal Gems, the biggest question is, what type of character are we looking for? Are we looking for a supporting character? Are we looking for a DPS character? Over here you can tell I'm a little biased towards Ayaka. I'm like, Ayaka can do everything. But to be honest, Yoimiya is actually a very interesting supporting DPS character that can actually have the best spell ability to do AoE pile damage and also debuff enemies. It's like a plague. The debuff will go on to the next target and also the next target, which could be quite interesting. In terms of a supporting character, if you guys don't have Venti, Kazuha is going to be amazing support, because he's like the combination of Venti, Sacros, and also a battle. He will give us control, he will give us damage, he will give us, a lot of the Anemo powers. The only thing he doesn't give us is healing. So in terms of a support, if you don't have Venti, Kazuha is going to be a very good character for any of the elemental teams. He can even do damage himself if you combine him correctly. Now what if we're looking for a DPS character? While Ayaka is going to be one of the strongest DPS in the game, we have had our review on Ayaka, and her powers with her constellations, passives, and also unique spells with her sprint. Even her special sprint gave her 18% bonus cryo damage, which is actually very powerful. So if you're looking for a DPS character, if you don't have any cryo DPS, I would say Ayaka is going to be a very good character for the next 6 months. And as for the single target character, Yoimiya is said to be the best single target DPS in the game. Now, just in patch 1.7 alone, Yoimiya have received 4 different buffs, and Ayaka have received 3 different buffs during the beta. So they're actually making those characters very powerful in terms of patch 1.7, because Inazuma is going to be a big patch. And I do believe miHoYo is preparing a lot of events, a lot of themes, a lot of Primal Gems for us to go for those characters. Now on the topic of new Inazuma characters, Ayaka actually works really well with the Inazuma characters. What a surprise, guys. So, Ayaka as a Pyro character works really well with the Pyro characters and also Electro characters. This can be Yumiya, Sharu, and also the Electro icon. Yumiya, on the other hand, works very well with the Cryo characters, Hydro, and also Electro characters, because she's going to be a Pyro character that can use Melt and also Vaporize. One of the best characters to combine with Yumiya is going to be Shinchu, and this was tested in the beta. So a lot of the new heroes with Petrol Point 7 can work well with Cryo and also Pyro, which seems to be two of the best elements in the game. Now don't forget guys, Kazuha is also from Inazuma, so Kazuha actually works well with the samurai teams and also new characters. Because most characters will be dealing elemental damage, Kazuha with his high elemental mastery will give us the percentage increase to elemental damage. And also he does a lot of sword effect and also lowers the enemy's resistance with the Veta Mesoneer with the particular Nemo set of artifacts. So Kazuha is going to be a very good support. The trio of the Inazuma characters are all very powerful with themselves, with new characters, and also with the Electro icon. Now coming over to the release timing of each of those characters. We know from the official information that Kazuha will be released within 24 hours with a new banner for Petrol Point 6. And after that, it is very likely Ayaka will be on the first banner, and also Yumiya will be on the second banner. One advantage of Yumiya on the second banner is that she will also come with Sharu, a new Anemo 4-star super ninja character that will be really cute and really fun to play with. So all of those three banners are looking really good. What I'll do is, I'll look for more information on the 4-star characters on Ayaka and also Yumiya. There are currently some fake fan-made images of those banners. But once we have the solid data mine information of those banners, I'll make a prediction video for us and also go through all of the possible characters that might be coming with Ayaka and also Yumiya. I've heard they may be Xingyan, I've heard they may be Yanfei, I've heard they may be, Negron coming with those banners. We're looking into more information for those. So it is likely, we know Kazuha will be coming tomorrow. And after that, Ayaka will be the first banner and also second banner for Yumiya. Now in order to give us the best comparison of those three characters, I want to highlight some of the strength and also weakness for those characters for me personally. So coming over to Ayaka, as you guys know, she has some of the highest stats, higher multipliers, and also very high cryo damage bonus. Ayaka is going to be very flexible for most of the team comps, and also she can sprint very well, so she's going to be lovely for any of the teams. Her multipliers for her normal attack is going to be 623% at level 10 after casting all of her slashes, which is actually the highest sword character stats in the game. So the 623% is going to be the highest. In comparing with Genshin, in comparing with any of the other characters, this is actually very high. And those sword slashes do come very rapidly as well. And there's multiple slashes with her 4th slash, I believe. She does a triple slash, which looks amazing with animations. Now there is actually very few weakness for Ayaka. I have to think really hard for the Ayaka weakness. One thing is, she is a melee character, so when monsters are flying in the air or when monsters are moving around too fast, it will be a little harder for her to get to the monsters. Her burst ultimate is on the higher end, with anti-energy cost and also 20-second cooldown, but it is a very powerful burst ultimate, and it's likely that ultimate can deal few thousand% damage. Her constellations are too good to be true, and they might be a big bait in terms of baiting us to spend more for her constellations. And I wouldn't say this is a weakness, but whether this is like a vacuum for the primal gems we've saved up. So if you guys are going for her constellations, I wish you guys the best of luck in getting her to Constellation 6. But keep in mind guys, be aware of how much primal gems you're going to spend for her if you're going for Constellation 6. It is actually quite a lot. Before the Ayaka banner, I'll do an estimation calculation for us as to how much primal gems you need for each of the constellations. So you guys are more prepared, so you don't go into there trying to get lucky and then find out you ran out of the primal gems when you get up to Constellation 3. Now coming over to the strength and also weakness for Yumiya. We know Yumiya is going to be a very powerful elemental pyro DPS, because she can charge her attack with elemental damage with every attack. As a bow character, she's going to attack very fast. And also, we know that Sharu will be coming with her banner. So there's a few of the highlights with Yumiya already, and if we look at the numbers with her normal attack, what we can notice is that 762% normal attack with 4 of her shots. This is actually by far one of the highest multipliers for the bow character. Most of the bow characters, even Child, don't have those high multipliers. And what this means is, she is actually very close. It's about 800% with the Claymore characters. So 762% of the bow character is higher than Ayaka and higher than most of the characters. And we know that she also have a massive multiplier for the normal attack. So I've seen videos of Yoimiya doing 10,000, 40,000 damage with each of the normal attack, which looks amazing. Now, unlike Ayaka, who have a very few weakness, we do have a few of the highlights from the beta testers about the weakness of Yoimiya. One thing is, Yoimiya does have a very low AoE damage. She will be needing to swap into a different party member during her downtime, because her downtime with her elemental spell will be 8 seconds. And her burst ultimate spell has to be triggered by the team members. She cannot trigger the special explosion. And in terms of her base stats, it is slightly lower compared to Ayaka, and it's on the same level in terms of the defensive stats for Klee, who is considered to be a very fragile character. So it is definitely advised by the beta players to have a shielding support or healing support for Yoimiya. But Yoimiya can do a lot of damage. So what the beta tester says is that Yoimiya can burst down most of the boss monsters if they don't have an invulnerability phase, and she's one of the best single target DPS in the game. But we also know there's too many power characters, so Yoimiya is in a quite difficult place, and I think that is why they're giving her a special 4-star character, Sharu, over here on the banner as well, to make the banner more tempting and to get us to wish for the banners before patch 1.8. Now I'm sure you guys know a lot about Kazuha, especially with his new trailers and also his new PV trailers and everything that's coming with Kazuha. We know that he will be a godly and emo support, and he works off the field 90% of the time. And also his banner will come with Bennett and also Rosaria, some of the very popular 4-star characters. And also by adding the combination of his damage, he can deal a whopping 1073% elemental damage with his elemental E spell, with an emo damage and also additional elemental burst damage, with level 10 that is. So Kazuha also have the potential to do more damage, and he looks very good. Now in terms of the weakness for Kazuha, similar to Ayaka, he is tempting to go wailing with spending for the constellations. A lot of the special effects and also the powers are hiding behind Constellation 1 to Constellation 6. We can see there's a cooldown reduction, there's an elemental spell reset with the Constellation 1. There's a plus 200 elemental mastery with Constellation 2, and also Constellation 6 he become a godly DPS. I wouldn't say it is a must-have to have him to high constellations, but he's one of those special supporting characters that becomes a different character with Constellation 6. I'm putting this as a weakness because this is tempting us to spend more Primogems, and if you spend too much Primogems on Kazuha, then we might not have Primogems for Ayaka or Yoimiya. So be more careful guys, the constellations are always a little baity to me, so usually I only go for Constellation 0. Now many of our low spending and also free to play viewers have been asking me the question, what are the best characters and what should I consider? What if I want to skip the character? When are the characters going to have a rerun and what are the things I should be aware of? So over here I have highlighted some of my points. So in terms of Ayaka, if you already have Ganyu, if you already have Eula, and you have a cryo team already, you might have a chance of skipping Ayaka. I do think Ayaka is going to be a very powerful cryo character, and we do need at least one cryo DPS on the team. This doesn't have to be a 5-star, but if you don't have any cryo DPS, Ayaka is going to be very good. So Ayaka is going to be a very hard skip, and the chance of Ayaka rerun will be definitely over 6 or 7 month time, because they got to make a lot of money with her, so it might take a while for her to come back, but she will definitely have a rerun. Now when considering skipping for Yoimiya, so as for Yoimiya, we know there's a lot of pile DPS. So if you already have some of the best pile DPS in the game, like the Luke, like Hu Tao, or maybe Klee, then maybe it's okay to skip for a pile DPS character. Of course, if you love your waifus and Yoimiya looks very good, there's more reason to wish for her. So this is more of a practical sense of waiting for the new characters and also waiting for her rerun. What I also advise if you want to skip for Yoimiya is that wait for more information on patch 1.8 or maybe patch 2.1 if we call it. So once you know what's coming with the next patch, you know the exchange of your Primogems, whether it's good to wish for Yoimiya or maybe the Electro Archon's coming, then there's more reason to skip for her and maybe considering going for the new characters. Now coming over to the consideration for Kazuha. When should we be considering to skip for Kazuha is when we already have Venti or even a Concentrate 6 Sakros, because we'll be needing at least one Anemo support on the team, and also 2 Anemo characters for the Sprial boost at most, or maybe Jin for the healing. So if you already have a lot of Anemo supporting characters, maybe it is okay to skip Kazuha. He is going to be a very powerful Anemo character with the special elemental mastery combos and also special effects. So similar to Ayaka, it is going to be a hard skip if you don't have any of the Anemo support, especially if you don't have Venti. And the only reason I would think about skipping Kazuha is that you will see that you won't have enough Primogems for the new characters you really wanted. So right after Kazuha, you'll see Ayaka and also Yoimiya, and even more Inazuma characters. So we have to manage our promo gems a little more carefully. Unlike all the reruns before, there might even be special reruns like Genyu and also Shell. So a lot of good characters are coming, and this might be one of the reasons we want to save up for the new characters. Now hopefully you guys find this comprehensive comparison video helpful. I try to think as much as I can with the stats, with the characters, as with the utilities, with the cooldowns, with the passives, everything I can think of. I want to give you guys a good comparison. Because I know it is super hard to save for those promo gems, and they're very costly if we want to purchase with real money. So hopefully you guys found this one helpful, and let me know in the comments which of the characters would you be wishing for. Some of us will be going for all of the characters, some of us will be going for maybe a 50-50 or maybe a guarantee for one of the characters. And would you go for the high constellations? Because personally I feel like it's a trap, but we'll see a lot of people going for high constellations. So I wish you guys the best of luck if you're going for the characters to win the 50-50. And if you're going for the constellations, hopefully it doesn't take you too much of the promo gems. I'll definitely be making a video for us to count how many promo gems for each of the constellations very soon. Now if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and also turn the little bell on for the latest news. I'll be looking towards to make more builds, guides, tips and news and event updates for us as we come further into the game. And as always, I wish you guys the best of luck with Genshin and have the most fun in exploring this wonderful world.